You made the trade. The numbers turned green. The profit was real. And then something inside you broke it. Not the market, not bad luck, not some external force you couldn't control. You broke it, and the worst part, you already knew it was going to happen before it happened. You felt it coming. That quiet dread when the profit started growing. That strange discomfort when things were finally going right. Most people will never admit that, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because this isn't about trading. This is about who you believe you are when the money is real. Here's the psychological truth that nobody in the trading world wants to say out loud. Your mind doesn't panic when you lose. It panics when you win. Losses feel familiar. Losses feel like home. But profit feels dangerous. And anything that feels dangerous, your subconscious mind will find a way to destroy. This is called self-sabotage. But that word is too gentle, too clinical. What's actually happening is far darker. Your brain is protecting an identity, an old story, a version of you that was written before you ever placed your first trade. And that version of you does not believe it deserves to win. Think about the last time you closed a winning trade too early. What were you feeling in that moment? Be honest. It wasn't logic. It wasn't strategy. It was fear. Fear disguised as caution. Fear dressed up as discipline. Your mind found a reason to exit, and the reason felt completely rational in the moment. But you were running. You were running from profit because profit meant pressure. Profit meant expectation. Profit meant you might actually be someone who succeeds. And somewhere deep inside, you're not sure you're allowed to be that person yet. That's the open wound. And until you name it, it will keep bleeding. Here's what nobody tells you about consistent traders. It's not their strategy that separates them. Strategy can be learned in months. What separates them is their emotional baseline. Their nervous system has been conditioned to treat profit as normal, as safe, as deserved. But most people come to the market with a nervous system still wired for survival, still running old programs from old environments, still unconsciously believing that having too much will cost them something: safety, relationships, identity, peace. So when the profit appears, the alarm goes off. Not in their trading platform, in their body. The chest tightens. The thinking gets foggy. Suddenly there are 1,000 reasons to exit the trade. Suddenly the strategy they trusted yesterday feels weak today. Suddenly they need certainty, and markets never give certainty. So they exit. They sabotage. They survive. And surviving feels like wisdom when it's actually just fear wearing a suit. You cannot trade your way out of a psychology problem. Read that again. You cannot trade your way out of a psychology problem. You can study every pattern. You can back test every setup. You can journal every entry. But if your nervous system still experiences profit as a threat, as something that will be taken from you, as something you don't deserve, as something that makes you a target, your body will find a way to give it back before it ever feels real. This is the hidden war inside every trader who can't stay consistent. And it has nothing to do with the chart. Think about where this started. Not in the market, way before the market. Think about the first time you had something good and then lost it. Think about the first time success came close and then someone or something took it away. Think about the environment you grew up in. Was success celebrated? Was ambition safe? Was money something that came and went? Was wealth something that belonged to other people? People who were different from you? Because the mind is a filing system, and every experience you've ever had has been filed under a category: safe or dangerous, mine or not mine, deserved or undeserved. And the files that were created earliest, in childhood, in formative moments, in emotional pain, those are the files your subconscious reaches for first when the stakes are high. When the trade goes into profit, your subconscious doesn't ask, what does my strategy say? It asks, is this safe? Is this allowed? Is this who I am? And if the answer, buried under years of conditioning, is no, it will override everything. Every rule, every plan, every rational thought. It will override your logic with emotion so fast you won't even see it coming. The trade will close, the profit will vanish, and you'll be left sitting there wondering what just happened. Again. This is the cycle, and the cycle will continue until the identity changes. Not the strategy, the identity. Because here's the truth that most traders spend years learning the hard way. You will never consistently keep what you don't believe you deserve. The market will give it to you. Your hands will give it back. Not because you're weak, not because you're stupid, not because you can't trade, but because you haven't yet become the version of yourself who holds profit without flinching. And that shift is the real work. So what does that shift actually look like? It doesn't start with a new strategy. It doesn't start with a bigger account or better data or more screen time. It starts with a single uncomfortable question. What would I have to believe about myself to be comfortable keeping this profit? Sit with that, because the answer will tell you everything. It might reveal that you believe people who make money are greedy. It might reveal that you believe success makes you a target. It might reveal that you believe you're not educated enough, experienced enough, disciplined enough. It might reveal that deep down you still feel like someone pretending, and you're waiting to be exposed. That feeling has a name. It's called imposter syndrome. And it doesn't live in your mind. It lives in your nervous system, in the tension of your shoulders when the account grows, in the way your breathing changes when you're in profit, in the quiet voice that says this won't last. It never does. Not for people like me. People like me. That phrase is the prison, and most people never even notice they're in it. Who told you what people like you were capable of? Who handed you that story? Was it true then? Is it true now? Or is it simply an old program running in new circumstances, creating old results, keeping you exactly where you were always told you'd stay? You are not your history, but you will keep recreating it until you make the decision, the real identity-level decision, that the story ends here. This is what elite traders understand that beginners never see. Every trade is a test of identity before it's a test of skill. Every moment of profit is a mirror. It shows you exactly who you believe you are. And if you don't like what you see, if you flinch, if you exit, if you shrink, that's not failure. That's information. That's the most valuable data you've ever collected about yourself. The question is what you do with it. Because you can keep watching the pattern, or you can change it. Changing it starts with exposure, not to more market data, to discomfort. Staying in the trade a little longer than feels comfortable. Watching the profit sit there and not touching it. Letting your nervous system learn slowly, deliberately, repeatedly, that profit is safe, that it will not be taken from you, that you are allowed to hold it, that you are allowed to grow. This is not simple. It will feel almost physically wrong the first few times. Your body will send every signal to exit. Your mind will generate every logical reason to take the small win and leave. You will have to sit in that discomfort and breathe through it and choose, consciously, deliberately, against every instinct to stay. That is the moment the identity begins to change. Not in theory, in real time, in real trades, with real money on the line. That is where the psychological shift becomes permanent. And once that shift happens, once your nervous system has experienced holding profit without catastrophe, something changes in the way you see yourself. You stop feeling like someone who occasionally gets lucky. You start feeling like someone who is building something real. And that feeling changes everything. It changes your entries. It changes your exits. It changes your risk management. It changes the way you read the chart, because you're no longer reading it through the lens of fear. You're reading it through the lens of someone who belongs here, someone who has earned a seat at this table, someone whose hands no longer give back what the market offers. That's not arrogance. That's earned identity, and it is the most powerful trading edge that no course will ever teach you. Most people will watch this and feel something, a recognition, a discomfort, a moment of honesty with themselves. And then they will close the video and return to the same patterns. Because change is uncomfortable and familiar is safe, even when familiar keeps you losing. But some people watching this will make a decision. Right now, in this moment, not a resolution, not a plan, a decision. A quiet, irreversible shift in how they see themselves and what they will no longer accept from their own mind. If you are that person, the market will feel different next time. Not because the market changed, because you did. The profit is not the enemy. Your story about whether you deserve it is. Change the story, change everything. If this reached something in you, if it named something you've been feeling but couldn't say, this channel exists for people who are ready to go deeper. Not surface psychology, not generic motivation, the real work. Subscribe, because what we build here isn't just a trading mindset. It's an identity. An identity, once changed, cannot be undone.